this has been the most volatile offseason for the Bills, and this is where we have the most questions that we have had since, I would argue, Stephon Diggs getting traded there, and really kind of seeing that elevation of Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs is gone. Gabe Davis is gone. I love their Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox duo at tight end. Khalil Shakir could have a season where he steps up into a bigger role, but the reality of where they are is Keon Coleman may or may not be good this year or ever. Like, there's a lot of question marks to the point where when I look at the Buffalo Bills, I say this is a team that could go over their win total. This is a team that could win 8 games. This is a team that could win the division. This is a team that could be, well, they're not going to be 4th because, for the love of God, the Patriots are going to be absolutely awful. But they could finish 3rd in the division if it breaks the wrong way for them.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that does happen, man. But like you said, I also wouldn't be shocked if they won 12 games. I think that's why there's a couple different ways to play the Bills this year. The headlines will say the Bills are in trouble because they don't really have a wide receiver number 1 because they lost Stephon Diggs. But Stephon Diggs wasn't really good the second half of the season. He didn't want to be there. Gabe Davis hasn't really been Gabe Davis since he had that 4-touchdown game, and we made a big deal about Gabe Davis.
He's lived off of that one historic performance his entire career.
He's a fine number 2, maybe even a number 3. I do like Dalton Kincaid, but what I worry about is him and Dawson Knox on the field at the same time. They moved on from Ken Dorsey. We got the Joe Brady offense where they went with a bunch of power. I think they're going to want to run the ball. What concerns me more about the Bills is the defense. We talk about this every other night, I feel, where you lose Trey White, you lose Poyer, you lose Micah Hyde. You lost both starting safeties, your best cover corner. Von Miller didn't have a sack last year, and he's another year older. He will be healthier. Matt Milano's coming off a season where he got injured. So that's what worries me a little bit, man. I know that you have a defensive-minded head coach, but also he's kind of a lunatic. I won't be shocked if he's out next year if Buffalo does miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if you want to bet the Bills, bet Josh Allen to win MVP 9-1. Because if that team wins 12 games in a loaded division with Miami and with the New York Jets, I think he's probably going to get at least a look for MVP. But I like the Jets to win the division. I don't trust Miami. They beat one playoff team. They don't win cold weather games. I'm kind of out on Tua.
You can wither in cold weather.
You could wither. You could. And, Vic Fangio's already out after year 1. Your best pass rusher is coming off an injury. I like Bradley Chubb. I like Jalen Ramsey, but now he's another year older. He hasn't been an all-pro elite corner the way that he was with the Rams or with Jacksonville for a couple of years now. He's another year older, too. So I like the Jets, man, because of that defense, because Breece Hall's another year removed from that injury. Aaron Rodgers looks really good in OTAs. He's just got to stay healthy. Offensive line should be better. Garrett Wilson's really damn good. And if Mike Williams could play even 70% of the snaps, he's a pretty good number 2. So I like the Jets in that division, but I'm with you. If I want to do anything with the Bills, it's just Josh Allen 9-1 MVP because they could either be boom or bust. I do think offensively, they have Saquon Barkley now.
Right.
I feel like I keep forgetting that.
I forget it sometimes too. Don't feel bad. It's weird to see him in any Eagles apparel, and I think it's even weirder to think that. Look, he could go out and have a 1,000-yard rushing season.
Oh, hell yeah. You already can't
still
stop
got something left in the tank. Yeah.
On the goal line, you can't stop him. You can't stop the play that they run. And now you have the read option with Saquon Barkley, and you have A.J. Brown. Yeah, they have so many weapons, man. It just comes down to can they fix up that pass defense, and how long is it going to take these young guys to pick up on Vic Fangio's scheme? Because last year, everybody kept telling me Miami was going to figure it out by week 8, and they never really did. But I don't know, man. The Eagles have a lot more talent, in my opinion, than Miami does.
Yeah. Defensively, Philadelphia's got a lot more talent there.
Yeah.
So
I think they could win 11, 12 games. Yeah. I think their floor is probably it's hard to say because injuries. If you lose,
always don't factor injuries into this because we can't predict the injuries.
9, 10 wins. The NFC didn't get that much better.
So you're putting the Eagles under their win total of 10.5.
No, I got them going over. I got them winning that division.
So then it would have to be then you'd have to have 11. Over would obviously get you 11, but the question is, what does that? Could you be a 10-7 team and win that division? We've watched this division where the conversation for a short period of time, which is laughable now, all 4 teams making the playoffs a couple of years ago, and we've also watched this division where a team at the time they were the football team, winning it under 500.
Yeah.
So there's that too. It's just there's a wide range every single year. It's a bunch of very volatile organizations, very inconsistent organizations. The Eagles are obviously consistent in terms of what their front office does, but even look at what happened last year, the meltdown. So
I do hate the start of the season, the Brazil game against Green Bay. I know Green Bay's got a new defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley, and they got to rebuild their secondary as well. But now you got to go against Jordan Love and all those wide receivers. with a new look defense. I kind of hate that. I love the over in that game, though, but I do think that the Packers are going to win as 1.5-point dogs. But I do think that the Eagles will bounce back, probably win 11 to 12 games. Maybe Dallas has some regression. But the only thing about Dallas, man, you got a bunch of dudes that are just like playing almost for their jobs. Like Dak doesn't have a contract. CeeDee Lamb's going to want to get paid. Micah Parsons is always going to want to redo his deals. Mike McCarthy is kind of a lame duck coach. Not kind of, is a lame duck coach going into next year. It's like Super Bowl or bust for Dallas almost. But I just think Philadelphia is the more talented team, and I think they were the more talented team last year. There was just a lot of weird stuff going on, and the secondary wasn't as good. Even just like losing somebody like Gardner Johnson last year was huge.
The difference, though, is that when you're the Eagles and you know what your issues and deficiencies are, and you go and address them in the offseason versus the Cowboys, who basically just said, "Oh well, you know, it's going to be Super Bowl or bust." But we're very happy with the team. It makes no sense.
Well, they did bring back Zeke.
Yeah, there you go. I love Zeke so much. I'm so happy he's going to be eating cereal every morning in the team facility there, and he gets to be with Dak again. I want to make Dak really happy. I want to make sure that he wants to stay and spend another. It's mind blowing to me. I feel like the Eagles are poised for a bounce back season. Does that feel the same way for you?
Yeah, I talked to Chris Long on the podcast last week, it was, when we were talking a little bit about the Eagles, and I just asked him point blank, hey, is Nick Sirianni the guy? And he kind of took a long pause and thought about it, and he said he could be the guy, and I think we both came to the same conclusion that, yeah, he can be the guy if he surrounds himself with a little bit of brain power. And honestly, that brain drain that he had by losing Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen, I think proved itself, right? Both Gannon and Steichen had really good seasons with their respective teams. And meanwhile, the Eagles, I thought, took a huge step back, right, in 2023. So then what do they do? They're very smart. The Eagles are a well-run organization, okay? Because what do? They say, all right, we're not going to get rid of Nick Sirianni, but you know what? We like the swagger. Okay, we like some of the bravado that he provides, and the players seem to like him as well, so we're going to surround him with a little bit of brain power. We're going to give him Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator. We're going to bring in Vic Fangio, a former head coach, and obviously defensive mastermind to be the DC there, and then they go and add all these pieces as well. I mean, you add Saquon Barkley, you add Aeneas Williams, who I think is a perfect fit for that offense, and I think they're going to be off and running. I really do. And I tell you what, I am absolutely never going to bet against Jalen either. Just in terms of what he's been able to do at the quarterback position from college to the pros, I'm not going to bet against him. And I think the Eagles are going to absolutely roll this year.